there's always something to shoot on the beach. I moan about it a great deal because sometimes I find I'm not inspired. But if you follow the channel a little, you'll know that I really do like kind of abstract things that are different. And on a busy day like this, well, I'm not going to find anything on the beach itself that's worthy of shooting because it's just too messy. There's too many footprints and such. But I don't come down to this part very often. Again, if you follow the channel, you'll realise this is Cromer. I'm normally over on the east beach. I don't tend to come down to the west beach often. That's just habit. But I've come down here today thinking, well, there's got to be something, because what I spied from up above, I was standing not too far from where that chap is up there, and I looked over and I thought, yeah, one of the things I really like doing is shooting kind of brutalist shapes and such, and getting some abstracts from that. So I came down with the idea of that. And as I walked down and just came off the slope there, I saw all of these exposed reinforcing rods in the sea wall. In actual fact, they're so concerned about it up there, you may just be able to see a barrier at the top there. That side over there has been kind of cordoned off. They're concerned about its structure. But all the way along here, you can see the way the sea has eroded this concrete over, I don't know how many years, I don't know when this was put in, but it just, this is lovely. I could probably stand here for hours finding composition after composition of this array of things here, and I'm mesmerised by it, to be honest with you, because it's so graphic. It's everything I like in an image, and it's also one of those, oh, there's not a lot of colour in it. Should we make it black and white? And then there's this, oh, I don't know, because there is a little bit of colour, and if we make it in black and white because there's not a lot of colour, then we might actually lose some of the aesthetic. First world decisions, eh? So at its heart, what we've got here is just something that I tend to shoot a lot of. I've spoken about it quite a lot on the channel before. It's lines and shapes, isn't it? It's just, well, lines and textures and shapes. Kind of remind me a little bit of, I don't know, I'm not sure that this is going to come out right. They remind me of kind of alien writing, because yes, I've seen loads of that stuff, of course, but you know, the kind of futuristic kind of ideas that you might see in sci-fi movies and such, just the way that this kind of exists in each section of this. I suppose it's kind of bars, yeah, musical notation, I don't know, could it be tabulation? There's so much that you could kind of interpret into these shapes. I think it's rather wonderful. Now, before I go too far into this, at the next village down at Overstrand, I got a series of images of the sea wall, but not so much with these rebar, these reinforcing bars exposed and such, but far more with the kind of greenery up there. And I'd like to show you a couple of those while I'm setting up my ideas and further from this and exploring these a little more, because I think there's always something that we can shoot at the seaside, particularly if we've got these kind of man-made structural objects here. The way that this kind of just undulates, and it's got some lovely curvature to it, and yeah, some of this is obviously designed to break up waves and such as the curve at the bottom here is designed to be able to take up a wave and then curve it and then bring it back up, and you can just kind of see how that's happened here, how it kind of comes in and comes up, designed to take and break the power out of that wave. It's not a scientific channel, but you can probably tell I'm enjoying just looking at these. I think these are great, and have a look at these other shots that from a very close by village. If you're enjoying the video, please give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you really would like to support me, there's a join button down below, or you can buy me a coffee. Not that you've got to do any of these things, of course. I appreciate you watching it this far. You are still there, aren't you? I have very gingerly swapped lens. All of my gear is a bit sand-ridden from putting the bag down on the floor a bit, and well, yeah, actually I've got sand in my pockets. I don't quite know where it's come from. So yeah, one of the perils of working in this environment. But hey, what's a little danger every now and again? I think the most obvious way to shoot these is to just kind of shoot them kind of square on, and I don't know quite what else to do. I think because everything's up and down, I think trying to get parallel lines and such on this is probably where I want to be. I'm just going to snap. I think there's so many opportunities here for images that are, well, I've never seen anyone post images of these before. I mean, obviously I know I'm weird, but you know, this is as part of this seaside town as the beaches. It's here. What I find particularly interesting in it is the polished nature of all of the rebar. I mean, there's no rust. I don't understand quite why that is. I'm sure someone out there will have an understanding better than mine. Well, I haven't got an understanding, so if you've got one, great. I mean, even if you've got a theory, would they be more interesting if they were rusting? I don't know. Yeah, they might be. Certainly have a bit more texture, but talking of texture, maybe I'll go in close. I think, oh dear. I think one of the challenges of shooting anything like this is trying to get your lines as straight as possible. Obviously, as I'm coming in closer, I might get some distortion and such, and I'm having to kind of angle the camera in line with the angle of the wire. It's so much better doing this freehand than it is with a tripod, because they're simple shots, if you see what I mean. I could set everyone up, but unusually I think I'm going for quantity over quality, because the image that is going to need some processing, and I'm not sure how I'm going to process them yet. So yeah, this is quite a it's quite, well, it's not a challenge. It's an exciting experiment, because I don't know how these are going to turn out. I don't have a clear view of what they're going to look like at the end of this video when I present you a slideshow. I haven't a clue. So I went around and I got a number of different compositions, different shots, looking at different bits of wire. Well, it's not really wire, is it? But you know what I mean. And usually for me, I felt really quite satisfied with what I'd got. I thought about this a bit more, and I've come up with a theory. It has to be that the reason these are all polished is because twice a day they are getting battered by seawater. But not the seawater itself, they're getting battered by the sand. Every day these are being sandblasted and polished. So I appreciate these images aren't for everybody, but these things are on my doorstep, and if you see so many of the other the channels around, and you know, like Thomas Heaton, I love Thomas's work. He's great. He's a lovely fella. But there aren't that many of us that can afford to go out to Mongolia. So, yeah, some of us can barely afford to get out to the supermarket. And as much as a lot of his stuff is very aspirational, and yeah, I would love to go to some of these places. I think the reality for way too many of us is that yeah, we just can't. We can't afford it. We might have all kinds of climate concerns and such about flying and whatever. And yeah, I'm not going to go into it. The point being that somewhere close to you, there's going to be something that's going to look epic as a bunch of lines and shapes. And you've just got to go and find them. It's those intimate shots that kind of work in relation to things. If you go and consider a project in your local area of unusual things, and you start training your eye to find these unusual things, believe me, you will find them. And you'll probably find them with alarming regularity as time goes on. It might become annoying to anybody else that you're with. So, yeah, just be aware that these things can become a bit fixational. Any inspiration in this? Do let me know, because until I walked down here, I was just going to shoot the brutalist kind of concrete architecture here, and I certainly haven't ruled that out, but I've got, I don't know how many shots of this so far, so I will put up a small slideshow of these images, and I hope you enjoy them. And I'll get on to shooting a bit more brutalist in a moment. I've walked 10 yards, not even that. And this is here what I came down for. I was intrigued when I was looking at the top at just how the erosion had happened on the castellated bank sea defence running off down here, and it's really rather nice. It kind of ins and outs and such. I don't quite know how to define this to you in terms of how much I like this type of stuff. Yeah, if we work on a scale of kind of 1 to 10, whereas 1 is, no, I'm going to walk away, and 10 is, I might stay for hours, we're somewhere around a 10. And really, what I'm doing here is mostly kind of just honing in on little bits of it, bits of interest, working on angles that kind of show things off the best, keeping the sky totally out of it. We're focused entirely on the subject in hand that is filling the frame. Just look at the way these shapes kind of curve around. They're really rather nice. I'm not sure I like it so much with people in the distance. I would prefer that to be a very clean shot, so I might not shoot that when that's running around there, or I might wait to see whether I can get a shot that's a lot cleaner than it is at the moment, with there's just too many distractions back there right now. But if I get the edge of that circular part just very close to the border of the image and kind of pull it, I can do something with it. So there's an interesting shot there. I'm going to get a few others. My battery in the camera is running low, so I'm going to just shoot a few more, and again, probably put up a slideshow in a few minutes. So earlier on, I was worried about whether I was going to keep these in black and white or move them to mono. And you can see so far, I've left them largely in colour. There are some mono ones coming up, but I've played about quite a bit and processed these, sharpened them a lot, put a lot of clarity into them, adjusted the colours, and well, I think they're looking rather nice. But I think the mono ones, when you see them in a minute, I think you'll like those as well. But of course, that's always assuming you like the colour ones. I've got myself into a pickle here. What about some brutalist stuff? So you can see I've really emphasised the contrast in this. It absolutely needed it. A more complicated brutalist image. If you know anything of the privatised waterworks in this country, you'll know I really could be taking my life in my hands while standing there. Heck, the things I do for this channel.